Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sasha Malice.
And I'm Kyle Byrne.
Welcome to The Local Live, the only show that brings you coverage of the Mamaroneck, Larchmont, and Rhinebeck communities.
We've got a great show for you this evening, so here's the news on this Thursday, August 7th, 2014.
Maura Carlin is out, but Mike Witch will be hosting our weekly roundtable discussion in a few minutes. Joining him live will be Solange DeSantis, Barbara Weiss, and Joyce Marie Washburn, members of the Village of Mamaroneck Art Council. Stay tuned.
Now here's a sneak peek of tonight's top stories.
We have an update on the gubernatorial race for New York State Governor. Here's the highlights in the fight to earn your vote.
Andres Bermudez-Hallstrom is back on the ballot, and our very own Sasha Malice has a story for you.
And Anthony Carlo is back on the streets of Mamaroneck.
Did you know that the legendary makeup artist Dick Smith gave his first extended interview to LMC TV back in 1993? Catch it in this week's edition of In the Spotlight.
Biscuit is an adorable puppy searching for a new home. Help him find cuddles and love with a new family.
Current New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and Westchester County Executive Rob Astorino are both running for New York Governor in this upcoming election. As usual with politics, there's accusations of scandal. Astorino is blaming Cuomo for tampering with the Moreland Commission while being investigated for corruption in Albany.
He used his influence to directly cut off an investigation when it got too close for his comfort. They threatened members of the Moreland Commission. They intimidated them, and they got their way to protect their cronies.
Although the accusations have raised controversy, they've had a minimal effect as Cuomo appears to be holding on to his lead.
Continuing with politics, let's take a look at our local races. As we reported previously, Andres Bermudez-Hallstrom did not receive endorsement from the Village of Mamaroneck Democratic Committee this past May. Recently, Bermudez-Hallstrom was put back on the ballot. I was at his kickoff event this past weekend, and here's what he had to say.
As a registered Democrat, I have the right to be on the ballot if I get signatures from 5% of the registered Democrats in Mamaroneck, which comes out to 222. So I got 361 of them to sign my petition, and that puts me on the ballot. Because there are now more people on the ballot for the Democratic Party than there are positions, so there's 4 people running for 3 trustee slots, that triggers a primary that will be on September 9th.
As Bermudez-Hallstrom said, there will now be a primary on September 9th, and elections will be held November 4th. Make sure you register to vote. The decision is up to you.
Up next is Mike Witch's In the Media segment, keeping you connected to everything newsworthy in our community. Let's take a look.
The Mamaroneck Larchmont Patch writes to its readers that the publisher is making several improvements. The online newspaper is redesigning its pages, adding a reader comment section, and making it easier to navigate the site. And there's more to come. Check out thepatch.com. A short blurb in the Loop announces a special program this month at the Sheldrake Environmental Center. It's a mini camp for 3 to 5-year-olds, and it starts August 11th. It, quote, fills this less than convenient gap between the end of most summer camps and the beginning of the school year. For more information, call Amy, and her telephone number is 914-834-1443. That's Amy at 914-834-1443. In the Hamlet Hub, we read that the Burchell Children's Room in the Larchmont Public Library has been named in the 2014 Best of Westchester. This is the second year for recognition. Save the evening of next Thursday, August 14th, for the Village of Mamaroneck's Summer Block Party. It will be at Harbor Island Park from 7 to 10 p.m. The Westchester County Board of Legislators just approved a $5 million capital budget amendment and a corresponding bond resolution to rehabilitate 40 roads hit hard during this past winter. 2 local thoroughfares are included, Murray Avenue between Weaver and Maple Hill, and Mamaroneck Avenue between North Barry and Knollwood. My thanks to legislator Catherine Parker's staff for these details that were not part of the county executive's press release. And the Homics Co-op Camp concludes this week, but you can see a unique art exhibit from some of the campers at the new Children's Museum at Playland. It's called Our Community Engineering Art. And here's the welcoming piece, a giant construction made of fabric, cardboard, and paint. It's a creation from the Maker Corps, a program that involves teachers and high school mentors working with the campers. The exhibit runs through September 5th during museum hours, and admission is free. And those are some of the local items that I found this week in the media. I'm Mike Witch.
You're watching the local live on LMC TV.
Here we go. Good evening. I'm Michael Witch, and I'd like to read you a little statement. See if you recognize these words. It says, a man should hear a little music, read a little poetry, and see a fine picture every day of his life, in order that worldly cares may not obliterate the sense of the beautiful which has been implanted in the human soul. That's wisdom from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, and I think it's probably wisdom or sentiment shared by our guests tonight, who are all members of the Council of the Arts in Mamaroneck Village. So with that, I would like to introduce Solange DeSantis, who's right next to me, who's the chairperson of the council, and next to her, Barbara Weiss,
Hello.
and next to her, Joyce Marie Washburn. And you are not only members of the council, but you are each artists in your own right.
That's true.
Well, welcome, and our topic tonight is the Council on the Arts in Mamaroneck Village. So, as always, I just need to remind the audience watching that you're welcome to call us or tweet us or email us with questions or comments that you may have for the Council on the Arts or these artists. And the numbers that you need to know are on the screen and will be on the screen for the duration of this interview. So, Solange.
Yes.
This has been a busy summer for the Council.
It's been quite a busy summer. We have several initiatives that are funded by the Village of Mamaroneck. And as an arts council, we really are your arts council, anyone who lives in the Village of Mamaroneck. In the summer, we have our Summer Nights on the Sound concert series in Harbor Island Park. It's Sunday nights. Just about all of our initiatives are free to the public. We like to engage a variety of bands. They could have a connection to Mamaroneck, Sound Shore, the community. And we wanted to make sure that we told people that we have a rain date postponement coming up.
Okay.
Our Zydeco Hogs group, which is going to entertain us with Sounds of Louisiana, is going to be playing on August 24th, Sunday, August 24th.
Okay.
So we really want to get that word out.
And what happened to them on the 13th?
They got rained out. They got rained out. That was one of those rain fronts, and it was so frustrating because it was threatening us.
Yeah.
And so we postponed the concert, and the rain didn't actually arrive till after midnight. It was awful.
So River City Slim and the Zydeco
Hogs
are
yeah.
coming on August 24th.
Sunday, August 24th, Harbor Island Park, 7 p.m.
And it's free.
And it's free.
And
Bring a
get
chair.
your dancing shoes on.
Get your dancing shoes on. It's going to be a fado-do.
It's not just listening.
Nope.
Oh no, oh no. People have been dancing to all our groups. All our groups have been very well received. And we have a new sound vendor this year, and the sound has been beautiful throughout the park. People have been coming off Boston Post Road down into the park and dancing and having a great time.
Have we been seeing some pictures from the summer? I didn't look at our monitor.
Yes,
We have been. Good, okay.
The park is so beautiful in the summer also. There's the bandstand, and you're overlooking the sound, our beautiful harbor, so it's a great evening.
How complicated is it to put together whole summer program like this?
Oh,
It's amazingly
Piece of cake? Piece of
complicated.
cake? Yeah.
It's amazingly complicated.
We've gotten better over the years.
We have, but one thing we added last year, really an initiative of our mayor, Norm Rosenblum, was a July 4th concert, an orchestra concert. So we're going to be like, you know, the New York Philharmonic in Central Park, only we're going to be St. Thomas. We are St. Thomas Orchestra
Actually, that
in Harbor Island Park.
That whole concert, I believe, was videotaped by LMC TV.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
and
was.
is now playing on the
Oh,
on our
that's
community
great.
channels.
Well, that's the big kickoff for the season, July 4th, and everybody kind of had the opportunity to see how great it is down at the park, hear free music.
I know that not only is the summer busy, but the fall is going to be busy.
The fall is going to
Absolutely.
be busy, but I am also going to point out, before we get to the really
Sure.
busy thing we have,
Okay.
some of our other initiatives. In December is the Arts and Crafts Fair at the library. This is
Okay.
last year's poster. We feature easily 40 arts and crafts people at that fair. Again, not only is it free admission, but it's free to the artists, which is a
And
really...
that really pleases me a lot, particularly
Yeah.
your craftspeople. They don't make enough money, and they can't do the big shows unless they're willing to pay $1,000 here and there, and this gives them a great place to start.
We have fabric art from people like Joyce Marie, sculpture, all kinds of things. And
It's great because it's in December, before Christmas, and so you're supporting local craftsmen.
Just a quick question about that. Is the art expensive art, or is it?
No, it's not.
No, okay.
Occasionally there'll be a few more expensive pieces, but no, it's really, really affordable.
Yep.
And you know that a local show like this, that you have to have affordable art.
Yes. Well, some art is justifiably very expensive.
Oh, absolutely, and that is at the more expensive shows.
Yes. And you also read about paintings going for millions of dollars, but that's not here.
No.
Okay. At least not yet.
In the spring, we have an event called Poetry Live. It's really more for family and friends, and it features students from half a dozen high schools and middle schools reading their poetry at the Emmelyn Theater. These students have been chosen by their English teachers, and I just want to say that we had one person I know who kicked and screamed saying, oh, I don't want to come to something where a bunch of high school kids are reading their poetry. Finally, she went, and she was blown away. We're all blown away. These kids, they're amazingly creative. They give us new ways of seeing, and they're so poised when they are reading their poetry on stage that it really almost brings tears to your eyes. This was started by our village's poet laureate, Mary Louise Cox, who's been there. We're up to the 13th year.
Okay, so next year will be
And
the
my
14th
kids
year.
participated, and they both still write poetry, even
So-
though they're pursuing other careers.
So the Poetry Live is a published book, but it's
Yeah.
also a performance.
Yes.
It
Oh,
is
yes.
a performance, yeah. This
Okay.
is the anthology of the work, and
Right.
people get this to take home, but the students are reading it in public. And one last thing that we are currently developing is possibly murals around town. We have a mural and the CVS walkway, so we're just starting to look at the idea of maybe some additional murals around town. But that's
Wasn't
just
there a
in the
mural
planning.
under the train?
Yes, there was. I was
Mamaroneck
involved
Avenue?
with that years ago.
Yeah. What happened to that?
It got painted over.
The way of the world.
Well, I was part of a mural project at Mamaroneck High School some years ago, and it has too since been painted over, sadly, yeah.
When I was in graduate school, I found there were such things as fresco thieves. You'd go away from your villa for the weekend, and they'd come in with their wax and compound, spread it on, roll off the mural, and go home with it.
Ooh,
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
way to go.
fresco thieves.
Well, tell me about the art exhibit that you're organizing for the fall.
Yeah, well, it's at Arts Westchester. It's called Ways of Seeing. This is the poster.
Okay.
And we've conscripted Kenise Barnes of Kenise Barnes Fine Art in Larchmont and Robin Simon. She's an independent curator at Katona Museum. And it basically is a show consisting of artists in the Sound Shore community of Pelham, New Rochelle, Larchmont, Mamaroneck, Rye, and Portchester.
And we're seeing some samples
Yes.
of art that is on exhibit.
Yeah,
Will be.
will
or
be.
Will be.
Could be.
Yeah.
Will be.
Will be. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
It's already been curated. We've sent out the acceptances, and things are going handsomely. I'm really
Yeah,
pleased.
and we've gotten a broad spectrum of arts, both two-dimensional, three-dimensional, and photographic work. And I think it kind of, people in the community are going to be pleasantly surprised to see that their next-door neighbors might be incredibly creative people. So
Is this a show where you can buy the art as well as see it?
we haven't.
We're not really responsible for that. If they
Right.
Certainly, they know who the artists are, and
They can contact the artists.
And what's the advantage of having it up in White Plains?
Well, we're doing it through Arts Westchester, and they have beautiful galleries. We're using Gallery 9, which is on the top floor. There are 3 rooms, and they support organizations like ours, local organizations, and by providing space and support, advertising, and it's a wonderful organization.
We're members. The Arts Council is a member
Right.
of Arts Westchester.
Yeah.
Is this the first time for this show?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're thinking that it's going to continue on?
Yeah,
I
we
hope
would
so.
like it biannually. It's a lot of work, but as as in anything, news spread, and we'll get more and more entries, and people, the level will just continue being as
Absolutely.
excellent.
You should mention the date.
And that's
The date is October 11th to November the 8th.
yes.
That's right.
2 receptions. We have 2 parties.
Yeah, we have 2. We have an opening party on October 18th,
Okay,
and a
it's a
closing
Saturday.
reception on
November
8th, so that people can pick up their work and
have-
celebrate
Yes.
at the same time.
And also, if you can't make one reception, you can come to the other.
And is there an admission charge for this?
Oh, no, no.
No.
And no charge to the artist, and no commission for the artist.
Yes.
Which is what we've done with the craft show too, and I'm mighty pleased with this policy.
Yes.
Are there any 1 or 2 or 3 pieces that just blew you away that you'd like to mention?
I was blown away by the entire, all the entrants. Unfortunately, we couldn't accept everyone, but there's a really high level of seriousness and committedness to the artists in this community. And it was a pleasure looking at everybody's work. It was great to realize how many artists there were in this community. So I think people should come and see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a piece of artwork is a combination of it's like a dream. It's part of your everyday experience and part of your unconscious experience. That sometimes you don't realize what you have expressed.
Until it gets
Until-
out to the public, yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't know that when I was 20, or I would have been so embarrassed that I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Mike, I just want to mention, it just
Yeah.
occurred to me, Joyce Marie is a judge in the teen art show that is currently about to start at the Mamaroneck Library.
Saturday.
So here we have very young artists. You know, this is not an Arts Council initiative, it's a library initiative. But Joyce Marie is a judge.
The importance of the arts. I mean, as a lifelong educator, I know the importance of the arts because I was involved in performing arts and media arts, and I still am involved in media arts. But for the average person who's watching, what's the importance of the arts? Is it just being creative?
It tells something about being a human being. And that's really important.
You say just being creative. That's,
Yeah.
It's not a
I shouldn't
just.
say just.
Exactly,
Yeah, sorry.
exactly. Being creative is at the base of everything. If you even look at computer science or mathematics or any of the sciences, creativity is at the base, even at the very highest level of mathematics. There's creativity. There's creativity in astronomy, you know,
Well,
the way you look at things.
You're using numbers to represent reality. And observation is a key to all the sciences, to innovation. So yeah, the arts are at the base of everything. I practiced, I was a designer for many years in film and television. I made my living through the creative arts, and now I'm a painter, but I'm an acupuncturist now. And to me, they all combine the same skills of observation, and there's a sculptural element, and problem solving. And I think it all came from my arts training, which began at a very young age.
Also, if you want to know what's going on in a society, artists are the bellwethers. And that's why repressing or censoring art is always dangerous, because that will tell you not only where the good things are, but where the trouble spots are.
That's true.
But sadly, we often read when they're looking to cut budgets that it's the art organizations.
Because they think of it as decorative only, and it's not about
I think
decoration.
that's where the
it's
word
about
just came from.
Yeah,
when I
it's
was
about
talking.
expression, and it's about connecting to who you are, as Joyce Marie said, as a human being. I couldn't agree more. Beautifully said.
As artists, what do you think about when you see this drive to test and all this data that seems to be so much a part of schools these days?
I took a degree at NYU in educational theater, and part of that was the difficulty of assessment. Assessment is a big buzzword in education now, and that's fine. That's fine. You know, you have to measure outcomes. But when it comes to the arts, it's really difficult to measure outcomes, because how do you measure the kid whose spirit flowers because he takes part in a play? You know, how do you do that?
Or what about the kids who think out of the box and not, necessarily on the bell curve in the center? How do you help them to realize their unique traits?
How do you put a number to that?
Yeah. It's not only about the tools and data.
But it's not as if that art is totally subjective in my mind, because either what you're doing works or doesn't. And as we're talking about sons who are scientists, you have good ideas, you try them, it works, great. If it doesn't, on to the next idea.
Yeah,
I think art, practicing art also fuels everything else. My experience, anyway.
Well, there's a process, and a discipline. So.
And it's a hands-on.
Right.
As well.
Right.
And so often the subjects that you see students engaged in, it's cerebral. It's all writing.
Right. There's something about making something that you can then look around it and see where the problems are. And that process in and of itself brings you to another place.
And you don't even have to be good at the things you learn. It makes you experience the world differently. I'll never be a great sailor, but having raced, I have a different feeling about wind.
Right, exactly. It's
when
realer.
I use a four-harness loom, I'll never look at fabric the same way again.
Right.
It just totally enlarges your experience of the world.
Anyone who's in the science of the brain knows that the arts affect the brain from very young straight through your entire life. I know many adults who have either taken up a musical instrument, I'll just focus on music, or retaken up a musical instrument in middle age, and I'm one of them. I have come back to the piano and to singing. It continues to create pathways in the brain, and it continues to make your brain healthy.
Right.
And that's the business of being a human being. We're like bean sprouts. We're supposed to continue to grow. If you're 106, you're still supposed to be growing.
And
you don't get let off
exactly.
age.
You should have challenges. And I think when you create something, you're solving problems all the way through.
That's when people say they're not creative. I said, but it's problem solving. You do it. You just choose what area you do it in.
Yeah.
You've all brilliantly answered one of the emails that we got.
Oh, you have any other
which
questions?
says, why is it important to cultivate art in our community? I think we've answered that. Another email says, what is good advice to give to an emerging artist? This is a community that nourishes art, is it not? I mean, and I think artists in Mamaroneck, Larchmont is loaded with people who are professional artists.
Right.
Someone who's emerging artist, do you have any specific advice for them?
Yeah,
do it.
Do it, yeah. And stay true to yourself and constantly check in with yourself and develop your skills.
I think we could do more, but I think we could do more to support the arts in this community. We have a budget, but it's not a large budget. And I think that the viewpoint of supporting the arts could be brought up at Board of Trustee meetings. It could be brought up by any member of the public. it should be in the public eye. And I think we can do more. I see other Westchester communities that have more art manifest in the face of their community than we do here.
Anything you want to mention as something besides what you just did?
Everything from the murals in Yonkers, for instance, the outdoor art there. I think, by the way, a kind of a cool initiative, if you go to the train station, the MTA has its own art program. And right now there is an arch that is wrapped up in plastic and is going to be a work of art at the train station that's going to be kind of a welcoming arch. We just got word of this, you know, what the description is, and that's going to be sort of the welcome to Mamaroneck.
Yeah, you know, in New York City, at Grand Central Station, they have mosaics, and they're very intriguing. Just to walk down the hallway, there's images of the universe and constellations, and it always piques it kind of takes me out of the day-to-day and makes me think about things other than getting food on the table, which is important, but it's also important to feed the soul.
In South Philadelphia, you made me think of the fact that instead of a painted murals, they're making murals with crockery and
Isn't Philadelphia the location too where they're taking some of these large telephone switch boxes that are right at eye level and making them look like refrigerators and other things? I mean,
love it.
Yeah. We could have some fun like that in the community.
Sure.
We have Parkland. If you go up to Caramore right now, which everybody knows is the music festival, there's an installation there called Sonic Delights of sound art installations all through the park. Incredibly creative. It will cause you to experience the world of sound in a different way.
Yeah, I would like that.
We have fantastic parkland here. And it's great. I used to play softball, but we could do something else.
We used Columbus Park a few years ago to have theater, and we're looking into possibly getting a traveling theater to perform at Columbus Park, and maybe some of the local merchants will want to get involved with supporting that.
We talked about sculpture.
Yeah, sculpture, and maybe getting involved with some local universities.
Well, you have a charge that we didn't get to. Well, I'll read it very quickly.
You do?
The mission of the Council on the Arts is to engage the community in the creative arts experience, to highlight the value and importance of art in our lives, to nurture and celebrate local artists through support and presentation of the visual, performing, and literary arts.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. And
that's what we try to do every day.
In the minute we have left, how do people contact you folks?
Our email address is vomartscouncil@gmail.com. It's not a particularly good idea to call the village because we are a board of volunteers, and the village offices are staff. So that email address is a good one.
Give it again.
vomartscouncil@gmail.com. We have a webpage on villageofmamaroneck.org, which is where we post our members, when our meetings are, and our minutes too are posted.
And our meetings are open to the public.
Yeah.
And we can see you meeting, can't we, on Mamaroneck Avenue? We can look through the Venetian blinds, and you're in that room in the
Village
Regatta.
Hall,
yes.
Well, you're going to be practically next door.
Across the street, passing through. The other people on your council are, I have the names here, Trustee Miller,
Alyssa Miller is our liaison. Sherry Topol Allison, she's a filmmaker. Michael Rosenbaum is a collector, retired businessman. Jane Dorian, an English teacher. Robin Campbell of Elegant Occasions. And that's us.
Well, I thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedules and coming on here and talking about
we love to talk
the
about
Council on the Arts.
We love to talk about the arts.
You're welcome to come back anytime. One more time, we want to tell people that the rain date for Zydeco is
August 24th, Sunday, August 24th, 7 p.m., Harbor Island Park.
And then immediately in the fall, we can look forward to seeing
Ways of Seeing
Ways
at
of
Arts
Seeing.
Westchester. And the address of Arts Westchester is 31 Mamaroneck Avenue, and the gallery will be open
in White Plains.
In White Plains, Tuesday through Saturday, 12 to 5, Gallery 9.
Okay. Thank you very much, Solange and Barbara and Joyce Marie.
It was a pleasure.
A pleasure.
Well, it was a pleasure for me too. And thank you folks for watching, and stay tuned because there's more coming up, more news. Be right back.
Hey guys, you're watching the local live. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Governor Andrew Cuomo gave the green light for a bill that will try and stop people from being sexually exploited. Local Live reporter Anthony Carlo went to Mamaroneck Avenue to hear residents' reactions.
The process of broadcasting images of other people engaging in sexual conduct without their consent, something commonly referred to as revenge porn, may finally be meeting its end. Governor Andrew Cuomo recently passed a bill creating closure on a loophole in the law which now ensures that people will be prosecuted for committing such actions, regardless of which body parts appear in the images. The legislation was sparked by a case in Rockland County where a woman found an inappropriate picture of herself online, but because her intimate body parts were not visible, police could not press charges. Now, because of the efforts of Assemblywoman Amy Paulin and Senator David Carlucci, the newly expanded law addresses such issues. I hit the streets of Mamaroneck to hear what people had to say.
I think the law is a good thing. I think in this day and age, with all the media and all the social networking things, it's really easy for girls our age, pictures, maybe inappropriate things like that, to be out there. And I think people who are posting inappropriate things, or that's not their property, that they should be punished.
If someone posted pictures of me, just any picture, I would obviously be really upset about it and want to do something about it.
I would want them to be prosecuted because it's not fair for us to be, like, our pictures to be out there for the world to see.
It could affect a job, it could affect, future relationships, everything in their life. It's good that the law is recognizing that.
Individuals will now be charged with unlawful surveillance in the second degree if they use a device to view, broadcast, or record another person engaged in sexual conduct without their consent, regardless of whether that other person's sexual parts were broadcast or not. Prior to this amendment, charges could only be brought against an individual if sexual parts were shown in the picture.
It doesn't have to be a certain body part to be inappropriate. I mean, let's be real.
It should be whatever makes her uncomfortable, not what other people describe as, like, not graphic enough. It should be what she doesn't feel comfortable with. So I think that it's a good idea. So this person should have thought, like, twice about putting those pictures up.
Makes me feel a little bit on the safe side because first, I would never show anyone that type of stuff, even if he was my boyfriend, because I know that I would probably not stay with him till the end, so I wouldn't do something stupid like that. But if I ever did, and he ever showed someone, I would get very upset.
But every day they're coming up with a new way, or to exploit something or somebody, and we just have to constantly keep creating new laws to protect all of these things. So I think it's definitely a step in the right direction, and we just have to keep on top of it on a regular basis.
Governor Cuomo was pleased with the people who made this happen, saying, quote, "No one should be humiliated by having their image broadcast without their consent, and this common sense legislation ensures that any victim of such an act will have the law on their side. I commend Senator Carlucci and Assemblymember Paulin, as well as the Clarkstown Police Department, for their collective work to right this wrong and ensure that New Yorkers are protected from this potential abuse."
Of course, I would be humiliated, and I wouldn't want that to be posted. But I think in this day and age, if you're having a photo taken and you know the photo's being taken and you're aware of it, you have to assume that it could possibly be posted on the internet.
The bill, which will go into effect November 1st, is aimed at turning individuals away from using the internet to humiliate or exploit other individuals. For the Local Live, I'm Anthony Carlo, signing off.
Last July 30th, the New York Times reported that legendary makeup artist and Larchmont resident Dick Smith passed away. Mike Witch was looking through some old LMC TV archives, and guess what he found? Let's roll the tape.
The New York Times reports that legendary movie makeup artist Dick Smith passed away on July 30th. He was 92 and lived in Los Angeles. We're reporting it here for two reasons: because Smith was a Larchmont native He lived near Murray Avenue School and experimented with makeup techniques in his basement, and because he gave his first extended interview to LMC TV back in 1993. In this clip from Russell Harvey Almost Live, Smith shares a story about making a mouthpiece for Marlon Brando in The Godfather.
Thing with Brando in the Godfather, did you have anything to do with the prosthetic?
dentures?
Yeah.
Well, in a sense. Part of it was made by the dentist, which is a kind of a metal bar that attaches to the molars and goes around his teeth, but there are blobs of plastic that were attached to them. And Brando was so hard to get hold of. I mean, he came in New York and he was out like that, and the dentist didn't have a chance to finish it up. So the first day of shooting, here I am putting these things in Brando, and they don't look right. I mean, they're not doing what we wanted them to do. So I had to file them down and build them up and so forth. It took about 3 hours just to start the thing off.
Today, producer and host of the show, Russell Harvey, is a freelance cartoonist and writer and lives in Miami Beach. So it's 21 years ago that you did this interview with Dick Smith. What do you remember about him as the professional makeup man?
Well, he was a very nice man, and he cared very much about his work. But he also had an old school quality. He's not the kind of guy that would share any of the dirt on any of the celebrities. I think he would only say something that would put someone in a good light. But the other thing is, it took several years to get him into the studio to do the show. And in the several times that I asked him previously, he never said no. And actually, he always very sincerely told me that he was on a project or very busy. And if I could ask him again after a little while, that's what I did. And eventually, he was able to come in.
As far as you know, was this the only televised extended interview that Dick Smith did?
Yes. I think that there have been a number of instances where he was part of a documentary and there were clips or sound bites. But I think that this was the only interview that he did that was actually televised. There were later at least a couple of interviews. I think one was for the Museum of Broadcasting, where they interviewed him for archival purposes. But I don't think those were televised, either on broadcast or cable television.
You can watch the full 30-minute interview with Dick Smith, again, as far as we know, his only extended televised interview, on vimeo.com/Russell Harvey. Reporting for The Local Live, I'm Mike.
Mamaroneck, I'm Carly Rose, and you are watching The Local Live.
Biscuit is a 4-month-old puppy that has long legs, a petite frame, and the smallest ears. He's a very affectionate and loves the company of adults, kids, and other dogs. Biscuit is well on his way to being housebroken, but as long as you provide him with lots of toys, he is not a chewer. Biscuit is neutered, microchipped, and up to date on all his shots. Now all he needs is a family to call his own. For more information on how you can adopt Biscuit, email Vanessa Moyo at vmuoio@hrg.net or go to snarrnortheast.org.
Before we close, we want to make a final announcement for the Mamaroneck community. Registration for the 2014 Mamaroneck Youth Football League is open. There are both flag and tackle programs for grades kindergarten through 7. For more information, go to www.myflonline.com.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Here every week, we'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the communities of Larchmont and Mamaroneck. For all of us at The Local Live, I'm Kyle Byrne.
And I'm Sasha Malice. We'll see you all next week here at The Local Live.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.